Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, about 2 or 3 months ago, I was doing a project for a friend of mine, and after the project was over, he reached into his pocket and he pulled this out. And he said, "Hey, do you think you could make me a couple of these?" Now, what this is he is an ex-BMX guy. If you guys don't know what BMX is, it's bicycle motocross. Now, this is a bike that he's restoring from back in the 80s, the early 80s. And what it is, it's a foot peg for freestyle riding. It would go on either the front or the back axles. So he was digging through his pile, and this is all he had right here was this. And he wants to know if I can make something just like it, but an inch longer. This is 2 inches long. We're looking to make it 3 inches long. Now, I'm not a machinist, and I really don't know that much about machining, and this is some knurling, and probably not too complicated for some of you guys that are machinists, but for me, all I have is my 42 Atlas. Everything is manual. There's no automatic feed over there. So anyways, I thought that would be a fun project. It's made out of 1-inch round bar stock aluminum. So I thought we'd just give it a try and see how it works. Let's get started. All right, so I'm just going to jump right in here. You know, you're never going to learn unless you try. So there's a couple of pieces right here. I cut it at 4 inches. I only need 3 inches, but I need a little bit to chuck up in the 3-jaw here. So the first thing I'm going to do here is face off the edge so I get something nice and square to start with. And as you can see, everything is manual. Nothing's automatic. That's just the way I got this lathe several years ago. So I've got this chart from KBC Tools right here. And, you know, it is a decimal equivalent a conversion chart as well as a tap and drill chart. And it's metric and standard. You can see I'm looking for a number 10 metric with a 1.0 thread pitch. It needs a 23/64 drill bit there. Gone over to my index right here, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a 23/64 right there. I'm going to grab that one and another one that's a couple of fraction size larger. I'll explain what I'm going to do with that here in just a minute. So I've got my center in here, and I need to drill this thing all the way through. And so, you know, I'm not going to be able to get all the way through 4 inches right here. I'm going to probably get, you know, a good 3.5 inches in before I've got to flip it around and drill it out. And that's what I want to talk about here. So while I'm drilling this thing here through, I mentioned this other drill bit, a couple of fractional size larger. You know, the tap that I'm using, even though this is the right drill bit for it, I'm needing it only taps about 1.25 inches deep, and I need to get about 2.5 inches in here. So once I drill this here, flip it around and drill out the other side, I'm taking that larger drill and I'm going to go in about 1 inch on it. You got to remember, I'm going to be cutting about 1 inch off of this thing. So, and I need a total of about 1 inch of thread after it's all done. So I use that larger drill, and that's going to provide that tap to go all the way through there, and including the shank. The shank is a little bit larger than the tap size, so that larger drill is going to accommodate for that and allow me to get the full tap size that I need. And you can see I'm just finishing that up right here, just getting the center in right here, and then I went ahead and got all that drilling done. It didn't take too much. It was only about 3.5 inches in, so a 1/2 inch or so, and boom, I'm all the way through it. And then that's when I drilled out that larger hole about 1 inch in. So here's the tap, and this is a Starrett 91B. It's one of the smallest tap wrenches that I have, and it's going to work pretty good here. It's going to spin around. Right around. I got clearance right here, and I'm able to run that tap. You can see right here, I'm going to run it right to the end of the tap, but because I drilled that larger hole about 1 inch in, I'm able to run that shank all the way in and get the full tap depth. So that actually worked pretty good. You know, that's just trying to think ahead of the game here a little bit. All right, I got that done, and now I was trying to cut this radius. You know, I had this bit that I had cut years ago for another project. I hung on to it, and I'm glad I did, because this is almost the perfect radius. You know, you never know when you're going to need tools down the road. I got that cut, and I just wanted to put a little chamfer on this right here. I'm just trying to match the part that I had, and this is what they had. All right, so I'm just skinning the outside right here. You can see, again, this is all manually operated, the stopping and the starting, and trying to run it through. You know, in this case, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to get the knurl on it, and it's going to cover all that up. So I got this over the mill, and I'm just drilling this 1/4-inch hole all the way through. This is used, I believe, put a screwdriver in it to tighten the thing on to the axle. And got that done. And now this is some A9 fluid, aluminum cutting fluid that I had put on here. And I just cranked that knurl down as hard as I can and ran it through. This is the only size knurl that I have. It's not exactly the same as the part that I have, but it's pretty close. And, this is kind of a one-shot deal, I think. So I was able to get that done, and it turned out not too bad. It's not perfect, but not too bad. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, but before I do that, I got to take this over the saw, and I want to cut it to the right length, which I did right here. Now I'm at 3 inches, and that's what the customer wanted. And so I'm just chamfering the end right here, then I'm going to face it off. And then I'm just going to put a chamfer on the end, and then I'm going to call it done. It was a lot of fun. I actually had to make 2 of these, and so this is the first one I made. I made the other one off of camera. And, I didn't want to bore you with the same thing, but I got everything all cleaned up. This is a great experience working with the old 42 Atlas, everything manual. And one of these days I'm going to get myself a real lathe, and maybe it'll make things a little bit easier for me. Okay, so I got the parts done, and I got to say it was a fun little project considering the equipment that I have is not state-of-the-art. Everything is manual operated from the mill to the lathe, and, it's a little bit challenging to get some of this stuff done right, especially because I'm not really a machinist anyway. But all in all, the part turned out pretty good. Here is the part right here that we were duplicating. Here's the part we came up with. Pretty darn close. He wanted it 1 inch longer than this right here, and so this is 2 inches. It's exactly 3 inches. So there's the 2 parts right there. It was a great project. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.